Hey everybody, in this video I'll show you how to play Out There by Dinosaur Jr. off the Where You Been record. The song is in standard tuning and you will need a capo on the 3rd fret for one of the guitar parts. But before we begin, remember to like and subscribe, that way you get notified when I post new content. I post new videos like these several times a week. And check out my website, ScottO'BrienGuitar.com. I have the tab for this song as well as hundreds of other punk rock and grunge songs up there. And here we go. Alright, so there's a few guitars layered on this track. I'm going to show you the basic rhythms, and then I'm going to show you how to play the solo that starts off the song, the intro solo. Basically, like the last half of the song is just one big solo. So the rest of the solos would be a little outside of the scope of this video, but leave a comment if you'd like me to do more of the solos in this song. I can do it in like a separate video later on. So for our first guitar, the rhythm guitar, I'm going to use this Les Paul. I'm also using my Fender Twin Reverb 65 reissue amp, and I'm using a Rat distortion pedal for the distortion for both parts on this song. There's a link in the description below where you can get the Rat pedal. It's like probably my favorite pedal, and if you buy it through the Amazon link below, I get a tiny commission, which helps support the channel. So the guitar's in standard tuning. We're putting the capo on the 3rd fret, and what that's going to do is it's going to raise all of the open strum strings when we play 3 frets. So a good way to think about it, and the way the song starts off with, is an E minor chord. A normal E minor, you're playing your index finger and middle finger at the 2nd fret of the A and D strings. We're just moving that up to the 5th fret. But really the easy way that I like to think about it is like, this is my new bridge, and I'm just playing all of my open chords from this position. So like the song starts off with an E minor. And basically we're just going 2 frets up from the capo, like you would play a normal E minor chord, except this is going to be a G minor because it's raised 3 frets. So I hope I didn't confuse you more, but that's how I think about it. One other quick thing to think about when you're using a capo is you need to tune the guitar after you put the capo on. Every capo is going to have a different amount of pressure on the strings, and this is going to change the intonation. So the best thing to do is to put the capo on, and then you're going to tune your guitar to standard tuning 3 frets up. But for example, so if we would normally have a low E string, 3 frets up is the G note, so we have a low G. And if we would normally have an A string, 3 frets up is the C note, so a C, and so forth and so on when you go up the fretboard. So it's very important to tune your guitar after you put the capo on. All right, so now that that's out of the way, I'll show you how to play that intro rhythm, which goes like this. So we're going to start off with a G minor chord, which is basically like an E minor chord. We're going to use our index finger and middle finger at the 5th fret of the A and D strings. And then the picking is going to be pretty straight time, 8th notes, except for this first passage. So we're going to play the G minor chord, and that's going to be a quarter note. And then we're going to go into 8th notes. So we're going to play that G minor, and then we're going to do these accents from the 3rd fret with our middle finger to the 2nd fret with our middle finger. So and we're going to hit, it's real loose, so you can hit just the 3rd fret of the high E string, or you can kind of hit multiple notes. And then we're just going to hit these open notes. So, and it's basically the top 3 strings. So, after the G minor, which I like to think of as an E minor, we're going to go to an A minor, which is normally played like this. I think J Mascis likes to play it like this. Same chord, you're just only playing the top 4 strings, and you're not doing that bar. And so it's going to be like pretty straight 8th notes. So we're going to basically just kind of work our way up. And then we're going to pull that index finger off on that 4th note. And then we're going to go back with some more kind of arpeggiated chords. And then we're going to just let off and play open notes. So again, one more time slowly. And so far we have One more time. And then we're going to move on to the next chord, which I like to think of as a C add 9, which would be the normal position if the nut was down here. But it's probably like a C, C sharp, D, D sharp add 9 or E flat add 9. So again, similar pattern. Except we're going to do these palm muted low open strings on that. And so the pattern goes kind of a normal arpeggio. And then we're going to lift our ring finger off and just play the high B and E strings. And then come back down. So. And then the 2 palm muted notes. So. So far we have. And then we're just going to do this kind of chord pattern that goes. So we're playing that C add 9 chord twice, and then we're going to play the low string, and then go back to it. So. And then right before we start that progression over, we're going to go like kind of early into that E minor chord and just play something like that. So open to E minor. Or something like that. So all the way through slowly we have. So I wouldn't get too hung up on hitting all those notes absolutely perfect. Really, you just kind of want to focus on playing the chords and the accents right. So you could kind of just ad-lib. And play those chords almost full. Just focus on the accents if you're having a hard time kind of hitting like those arpeggios with like the accents and everything the way Jay plays it, because it's real loose. And just like anything with Dinosaur Jr, there's kind of like a framework, but he tends to ad-lib and play it a little differently every time. All right, so next I'm going to show you how to play that intro solo. I'm switching guitars to my Strat. Jay uses a little bit of tremolo on this song. So don't worry if you don't have a guitar with a tremolo. You can kind of imitate it with your fingers or just kind of ad-lib a little bit. So I'm in standard tuning. If you had the capo on, you could still play this with the capo. Jay does it live like that, but I think on the record it probably didn't have the capo on. So I'm going to break this solo down into chunks and then just kind of show each chunk so you can put it all together. So the song starts off with 2 guitars, and Jay just kind of hits this like G chord part, and then when it gets like right up about the time for the solo, he just does this kind of dive bomb with the tremolo. Just something like that. You could do something like, if you don't have a tremolo arm. And then the solo starts and it begins like this. So I'll stop there and we'll kind of break it down. The solo is in the G natural minor scale, which is actually kind of easy to remember. It's similar to the minor pentatonic. It has just a few more notes. So after the dive bomb, we're just going to kind of stay on the tremolo arm and play the 10th fret of the G string. With just a little bit of tremolo. You can do it with your fingers. And then we're going to go to the 12th fret D. Then we're going to do this kind of double stop part. So we're going to bridge our index finger across the 10th fret of the G and B. And then we're going to play the 12th fret with our middle finger of the D string. And then we're going to do another big bend, 12th fret of the G string, 13th fret of the B string. And we're holding the 13th fret of the B string straight, and we're bending at the 12th fret of the G. And then we're going to bring it down, and then we're going to use our index finger to play the 10th fret. And this is going to be at the same time with the 13th fret of the B. So continuing on, then we're going to play. So we're going to bend 12th fret G, then 10th fret B, 11th fret B, then back down, to ending on the 12th fret D. And then we're gonna hit that bar again. And then you can kind of hear it on the record, then he bends up. And I think he probably lets go of the bar because otherwise it kind of messes with the tone of that bend. And then you can hit the bar again or just do it with your fingers. So far slowly we have. And then continuing on, we're going to have this kind of ascending pattern that goes. And so we're just sliding up from maybe about the 5th or 6th fret. Then we're going to do a hammer on. Then play the 12th fret again. Then sliding up from like the 8th to the 10th fret. So. And then the next part's going to be another kind of ascending pattern. So we end up here at the 10th fret. Then we're going to do this ascending pattern. So we're going to go 8th, 7th, 8th from the A to the D. So 8, 7, 8. And then we're going to slide up with our ring finger from the 10th to the 12th fret. So. And then we're going to just go 10th G to 12th D. So. And then we're going to do these kind of hammer-ons. There's like 3 of them, so it goes. And these hammer-ons from the 10th to the 12th fret of the G are going to be real quick. So it's like it's not like a slow. It's to another one of those 12th and 13th fret bends. And then continuing on from that bend. So we're going to, starting at that double bend, then 10th fret high E to 13th fret B with vibrato, and then back to the 10th fret, and we're going to go 10th, 11th, so. Then back up to the 13th fret high E, then 12th fret. So. So one more time, slowly. So slowly all the way through this second part so far we have. And then continuing on from ending on that 12th fret of the G string, we're going to do a pull off. So we're going to bend up. And then we're going to pull off to the 10th fret of the G. And then play the 12th fret D. So. And then we're going to go back to the 10th fret G. And then slide from 12th to 14th. So slowly. And then 15, 14. And then 15 to 17 with a full step bend up. With some vibrato at the end. So that whole part all the way through slowly. One more time. And then continuing on, there's going to be this kind of cool melodic part that goes. So that's 15, 16 B string. So then we're going to continue on with. So we're going to hammer on 15, 17 the G string. Then back to 15. So. And then it kind of ends with. So 15th, 17th A and D string. And then ending on the 17th D. With some bar probably. So that last passage through we have. And then we're going to stay with our fingers, like that ring finger probably is where I ended up. It's probably where he ended up on the 17th fret of the D string. And we're going to do this kind of pattern. So it's kind of tricky, but you're going to keep your ring finger at the 17th fret of the D and put your pinky at the 18th fret of the high E and go back and forth. And it's kind of sounds like almost mispicked. It's like kind of muted on that 17th fret. So, and then slide down from 18th to 17th. So slowly we're going to end like this. One more time. And then right before we go back into the verse, so we're just going to go 3rd fret to 6th fret. And then it goes back and repeats that verse. So that's it for that first solo, and then we're going to go into the chorus. So we're switching back to our guitar with the capo at the 3rd fret if you need to. And then we go to the chorus, which we're going to start off with this. I like to call it a D type chord because we're considering our nut right here, so this would be normally a D. So we're going to basically start with open, which is essentially 3rd fret on the high E. So open on the high E, and then we've got index finger at the 5th fret, ring finger at the 6th fret. And then we're going to use our pinky and our middle finger to do accents. So the first accent's going to be at the 6th fret of the high E with our pinky. Then the second accent's going to be middle finger at the 5th fret of the high E. And then back to the original form. So it goes. And then we're going to switch to this C-type chord. So index finger at the 5th fret of the D string, middle finger at the 6th fret of the A string. And we're just going to play like the everything probably but the high E. So we're going to play that once, and then we're going to use our ring finger to do accents at the 3rd fret of the low E. So, and it's that kind of rhythm. But you can kind of listen to the record to hear how the accents are played. It's kind of buried, but you can hear it. So the full chorus goes like. And then before going back into the verse, we're just going to hit the. So that's basically open, which is the 3rd fret because of the capo, and then 6th fret, which is kind of like the 3rd fret with the capo. And so it repeats the verse, chorus, and then it goes into the bridge. And so the bridge goes like this. And then back into the verse. So we're basically playing like what I like to think of as an A minor chord. If our nut was right here. So index finger at the 4th fret of the B string, ring and middle at the 5th fret of the D and G string. So, and then we're going to just lift our index finger off to do those accents. So. And so when we're strumming the chords, we're going to kind of strum full chords. And then we're going to also kind of hit the low notes. And we're going to kind of go back and forth between like the bottom 2 or 3 strings to the top 3 or 4 strings. So. And that's about 4 bars of that chord. And then we're going to go back to that C add 9 type chord. And we're going to strum all the strings. And it's just going to be like 2 bars about. So it's about half the amount of time that we're playing that A minor type chord. And then we're going to switch to this chord. And And that's going to be the same amount of time that we played the second chord. And so this second chord, we're going to do index finger at the 4th fret, middle finger at the 5th fret of the G. Our ring finger is going to be at the 6th fret of the D, and our pinky is going to be at the 6th fret of the high E. And I think there's a root note in there with the thumb here. And it looks like he plays that live. But if that's too tricky, you don't have to play that. It still sounds pretty cool. And if you're going to play that root note, you want to mute the A string with your thumb. So you're playing at the 4th fret with your thumb, and you're muting that A string. So slowly through the chorus again, we're going to go. And then back into the verse. So that's it for all the rhythm parts, and then it just kind of repeats those parts I've already showed you throughout the song, and then it's just like one big solo pretty much after that. It's going to be in that G natural minor scale, and then the song just ends with that kind of accent, and then there's like a big pause, and then, which is that first chord you played at the beginning. So that's it for this one. I hope you liked the lesson. If you appreciate this content, remember to like and subscribe. That way you get notified every time I post a video. I post new videos like these a couple times a week. And check out my website, scottobryanguitar.com. I have the tab for this song as well as hundreds of other punk rock and grunge songs up there. And I'll see you guys next time.